It's time for your Low Country real estate market update. It's the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show. Brian is one of the top 1% real estate agents in Charleston. Find him online at listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Or call him at 843-345-1273. Now, broadcasting from the WTMA studios, here's your host, Brian Beatty.
Good morning, Charleston. Thank you for joining me. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show right here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. And what a show I have lined up for you guys over the next hour. If this is your first time tuning into this program, let me just give you an idea of what this show is all about. We take real estate news, market trends, overall information, experiences that I have as somebody that sells real estate on a consistent basis. I've been selling real estate for over 12 years, done over 1,000 deals. And I hope you guys better understand the real estate market. I hope you understand what to expect out of the process of buying, selling, and investing in real estate so that you are a more informed consumer. So that very simply is what this show is all about. It arms you with the information you need to have a great experience when you buy, sell, or invest in real estate. And so I'm in the studio this morning, and I want to take your calls. And the first thing I want to talk about this morning is lawsuits in real estate. You know, the mistakes that agents commonly make and the negligent behavior that I see all too often. Then, unfortunately, sometimes we see fraudulent behavior. And so I want to talk about some of these different scenarios. Maybe you have a story you'd like to share. The number here in the studio is 843-556-1250. That's the number to call in if you have a question, comment, story you'd like to share. Again, 843-556-1250. Now, if you want to reach out to me personally, off air, you're thinking of buying, selling, or investing in real estate, you want to learn more about that process, learn more about what my team has to offer, then my phone number is 843-345-1273. Again, that's 843-345-1273. Or you can go to my website, listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Learn more about the value of your home. Search real estate for sale. Learn more about myself and my team, who we are, what we do, what we sell. All that fun stuff, incentives, what we do to sell properties. All that can be found on listingsincharleston.com. So I thought this might be an interesting topic this morning. Typically this time of year, things start to wind down a little bit for a lot of real estate agents. I always kind of slam on the gas pedal beginning of fourth quarter because I know that the more things I do now to generate business for myself, for my clients, for my team, the better a first quarter we will have the following year. So we're doing a challenge right now that I call 90 and 90. We're trying to get 90 new pieces of business in the next 90 days. And so in a market where we do have some seasonality here in Charleston, of course, things do start to slow down a little bit this time of year. So that's a very challenging goal to hit in October, November, December. But we're excited about it. And the reason I bring that up is so often in the spring and summer months, we'll see contracts on our listings, or we'll see behavior being exhibited by another agent that represents a different party to the transaction. You know, if we're representing a seller, they're representing the buyer, or vice versa. And there's a difference between mistakes and negligence, and of course, fraud. And you know, by the way, let me put this out there at the very beginning of this segment here. You know, I am not an attorney. If you call with some sort of issue, we can discuss it. I'd love to hear it. This is talk radio, by the way. So, but the only remedy you're going to hear from me is, you should speak with an attorney that understands your situation. I'm not here to diagnose your ailments and propose any sort of legal solution, ramification to your problems. But would love to hear about them. So the number here is 843-556-1250. And so when we talk about mistakes, mistakes are things like forgetting to call a client back at a certain time, or suggesting the wrong listing price, or playing hardball with a buyer, even though you've been on the market for 5 months and you have no other prospects, or not communicating well about showings and the resulting feedback, which I hear about on almost a daily basis from sellers that hired someone and then that listing failed to sell. Or, other mistakes are things like just not having a solid marketing plan, or this was kind of funny. This happened earlier in the week. Taking photos of your home with an iPhone while you're kind of standing in the background saying, shouldn't you be using a camera if you're not going to hire a professional photographer? And they're like, oh no, it's cool. I'm taking panoramic photos of your formal living room. It's going to look awesome. That's literally what I was thinking about earlier in this week when someone sent me a listing that I was looking at online. It was a nice house, by the way, over $500,000, and it literally had a bunch of iPhone panoramic photos on the MLS. And by the way, go to literally any website out there that buyers commonly use, and you can see how well a panoramic photo will work within that website's photo size requirements. Here's a hint: it doesn't work at all. This listing I was looking at, which was forwarded to me by another agent in a different market, had words in the description like awesome and super sweet. It just painted this picture in my mind of this older agent saying to themselves, you know what, I need to get down with the hip crowd and hire me a millennial, and since everyone only cares about online marketing these days, no one's looking at my newspaper advertisements anymore like they used to. Let's see what this young buck can do, You see where I'm going with this. In the agent's defense, they might say something like, hey, you just don't know what you don't know. I'm new. Unless you're supposed to know these things, like assuming a house on the beach is going to be sold fully furnished because the MLS says seller willing to sell furnished. So an agent writes a contract with a buyer, the seller accepts that offer, and then, the day before closing, they're doing the final walkthrough, and they realize all the furniture is gone. And everyone's thinking, what in the world are these sellers, trying to do? What kind of stunt are they trying to pull here? And so the buyer agent calls up the listing agent and says, yeah, we're at the final walkthrough. All the furniture is gone. What in the world's going on? And by the way, this is the PG version of this made-up conversation. But agents love to yell at one another, especially when things go awry. You have so many agents out there that love the power trip portion of what they do, but that's a different topic for a different day. But anyway, so the buyer agent's saying, where's all the furniture? And the listing agent's saying, the listing online says that it was going to be sold furnished. And then the listing agent says, actually, the MLS very clearly says that the seller is willing to sell it furnished. Your offer didn't have any language about us leaving furniture of any kind. So we just assumed you didn't want any of it. And then, of course, the buyer, looks at their agent. They say, you mean to tell me that I just spent all this money on a house and now I have to spend even more money to furnish the whole thing? This is supposed to be a vacation rental. What are we going to do? Put people in sleeping bags on the floor? You get my point here. I'm talking about negligence. The failure to exercise due care toward others that a reasonable or prudent person would do under the same or similar circumstances. Again, you're doing this one happens all the time. You're doing the final walkthrough on a home you're supposed to buy, and you realize the washer and dryer you thought were going to stay are not there. So you as the buyer are not an expert in real estate contracts is the point, and that's why you hire a professional. And so now after reviewing your contract, you realize that the agent they never specifically stated that the washer and dryer would convey. They try to say, well, it was listed in the MLS. Yeah, but it wasn't on the contract. The contract is what matters. Our agent population right now is a little out of control. I mean, I've heard, and these are not confirmed numbers, but I've heard we've got about 7,000 real estate agents in the Charleston Tri-County area right now. I've also heard that we're like the second most saturated real estate market in the country when you compare the number of agents to the number of available listings for sale. So, again, I haven't verified that, so don't take my word on that because, frankly, it's not my word. But here's what I can say. There is an extremely high degree of mistakes and negligence in today's market. And you know what? I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry, because this is what happens when an industry gets flooded with people that think, hey, a lot of my friends live in $500,000 homes. If I just sell a few of those a year at 3% commission, I'll make $50,000 as a nice little side job. And I've worked my what off for over 12 years, day in and day out, to become a phenomenal resource to my clients and to build a team that represents the best in the business, in my humble opinion, because we're really good at what we do. And you have, John or Jane Doe selling $500,000 assets to someone that can afford it, only to say, wait a minute, I didn't get to a point in my life where I have the ability to purchase a $600,000 house by just blindly trusting people. I did my research. I made careful decisions that were, best for me and my family. And now I'm working with somebody that has very clearly demonstrated that they're here for the commission, so that they can make a nice little, side hustle rather than earning their commission by getting me the best price and terms possible in this market on my most expensive asset. And if you think about how our industry works, which is why, which you would know if you followed my program, which is designed to arm you, the consumer, whether a past, present, or future buyer, seller, investor, with information about the market, information about the process, about how to align yourself with a quality agent that can help you accomplish your goals with the best results possible. You know that you don't owe anyone anything. You just owe yourself the best. So that's really kind of a big lead up into what I want to talk about next, which are some common ways that real estate agents get sued and how you can protect yourself when buying, selling, or investing in real estate by arming yourself with information. So if you'd like to call into the program this morning, the number here in the studio is 843-556-1250. Again, that's 843-556-1250. Feel free to call in with a question, comment, story. Doesn't have to be about this topic. Here to answer all your real estate questions. And of course, if you want to reach out to me, off-air, listingsincharleston.com is my website. And 843-345-1273 is my cell. Stick around. We'll be right back with more of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA.
Hear the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show every Saturday morning at 9 and each Sunday morning at 10 on 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com.